Unclear definition of success. So what does success mean to you? Because you see there are different definitions of success. So do you know what it means for you? And I'll be raising that a little later, what that means. And also, some of us not seeing the value of positioning yourself, thinking that the qualifications are enough, that sitting in the boardrooms and making decisions is enough. For me, that's a dangerous place to be in. Because you are into the battle for positioning. And it's good to see some ladies, because this seems to be a male-dominated territory. I don't know why. So it's good to see. Can we give our ladies a huge round of applause? Huh? This means that this is also a special breed. They are not a joking subject. Complacency, which is related to I have arrived. So complacency is a dangerous thing to be in. It's very easy to be, it's dangerous to be a big fish in a small pond. That's something that I've been battling with myself. In that, in the market, for example, I know when it comes to motivational speaking, I believe I'm the best positioned in the market because of how I've positioned myself through media and the like. But you see, Uganda is a small market. It's a $25 billion market. $25 billion. So it's very easy to dominate. And it's very easy to dominate when you're a small clique. And they want to see if they have to go through a haystack to find you when they, oh, you are here, I didn't know. Ooh, you mean in Uganda we have people like you? Wow, you can trade even for American markets. Wow. Ooh. And then you're like, I am the one. I am the one. I am the one. And you forget that there are people who are way ahead of you. So it's very easy for Ethan to feel comfortable here in Uganda and forget that there are people who are way ahead of me. People like Tony Robbins who earn $1 million per talk. $1 million. While here, when you ask for $1,000, they're like, $1,000 for just 1 hour. No. You people are thieves. You struggle. Even getting $500 becomes a pain, but you are the king. $500, $1,000. Someone is earning thousands of times. So, and I'm sure it's the same in your territory. There are people who earn much more than you do as a CFA, right? So how can we start to think bigger? Why not be an advisor to these guys from London Stock Exchange? Like, by the way, Susan, what do you think? The Queen of England asked me, what do you think about this? We understand you're the expert. Why not there? Rather than standing here, you're even struggling to raise the numbers to 20. Am I communicating? Yes. What do you need to do differently? I want to look at this model. We call it a Success Africa model in personal positioning. For me, it starts at the top. This is a pyramid. This is something we developed that we believe is very critical when you're positioning yourself. It starts, let's start from the top. End of life stories. So this, we picked from, how many of us have read 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey? Yeah, all of us, most of us have read it, which is great. A few of us, please read it. There's, by the way, before I forget, there's a book I want to recommend. How many of us have read Life and Work Principles by Ray Dalio? Okay, on a water. Please get that book. Yeah, it's new. It came out last year? Yeah, it came out last year, late last year. So it's a new book. Please. It is a must-read for people like you. Ray Dalio, I mean, he has a 40-year track record. Bridgewater Associates, he has an incredible track record. You need to get his mindset. I know that I was recommending the book with the CEO of Stanbic Bank. He follows him like crazy also, but he had not read the book. I would highly recommend it. And for me, the way he thinks is different once you see how his thought process, and he's from your background anyway, so you should be able to get, he's a hedge fund manager. And his company, Bridgewater Associates, is one of the 5 most important private held companies in the world. So the moves they make, they are incredible. So I think they manage about $148 billion. So Walter has read it, but it should be available at Aristoc. It's around $159,000. Now, some of us who don't like investing, we're like, 159,000, no, that's a lot of money. What is the return on investment? No, don't analyze, just go buy the book, okay? One idea will be worth it. So he talks in that book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, he talks about beginning with the end in mind, and he talks about imagine it's the end of your life, on your funeral, and there are a couple of people who are coming to speak on your funeral. There's your workmates, a representative from your workmates, from your community, from your family, from your friends. What do you want them to say about you? For me, that's the ultimate positioning, because then that's the brand that you have in the world, in the marketplace. What stories do you want told about you? And the best time to think about it is now, starting now, not sometime in the future. And then once you start thinking about that, then you say, okay, if those are the stories I want told about me, if those are the stories I want New Vision or Monitor to talk about me, how should I behave to make sure that that story is written or said about me? Are we following so far? So, and then as you think about that, okay, if I want to execute things at that level, what kind of language do I need to say to myself and others? For example, part of the language I was saying to myself when I was young that was not helpful was keep referring to myself as a second-class citizen. I'm poor, I'm an orphan, women don't like me, women don't love me, and that was affecting my identity, and your identity will influence how you behave. Are we together so far? Because I want to show you the step-by-step thought process. And then if you want to use that kind of language, so this is what we call the doing stage, and now that's the result stage. Now on the being stage, pay attention to your emotions. How are you feeling? And how can you influence those emotions? For me, something as simple as smiling, it changes the chemical reactions in your body, and therefore it changes how you think. If you choose to feel excited and happy, your thoughts will also be happy thoughts. And also when you talk about thoughts, what are you choosing to think about? So every day to start consciously thinking about what thoughts am I choosing? Are you going to choose thoughts of scarcity? Are you going to choose thoughts of I'm in trouble? Are you going to choose thoughts of I choose to create amazing results for my clients? Because I know one of the end goals, I believe from this, if my memory serves me right, it is your core goal is to make sure that you make the highest return on investment for your clients, or for the companies that you work with, and to also make sure that the economies are better because of your work. Is that what it is? Yeah. So how do you make sure that your thoughts are in alignment with that? The environment. Environment, then you are thinking, if I need to have the right thoughts and feelings to lead me to this, what kind of environment do I need to get in? And for me, part of my suspicion is people like you, with even the kind of work that you do, you need to look for people. So if you really want to position yourself right, look for people who are positioned at a much higher level, so that you relate with them. But when you talk about environment, what kind of, your desk alone, when you enter your office, you know there are people you find they have documents all over, the only space they have is for the laptop. They're all over, so before you sit, your head is crowded. So just a cleaner environment alone will impact how you think and how you perform. Environment also means where you stay. Your office. Environment means the people you hang around. Who are your friends? If your job is, man, and I have to take like 5 beers every evening. The stress of numbers, But you're overloading your liver and your brain cells. That's all environment. Now, the truth is you're in a very lucrative industry, and we also know that almost everything moves when money moves. You're in a beautiful industry. When money moves, things move. I'll tell you, when money moves, even people on the streets move. Even the riots move. So that's the beauty. But why is positioning yourself important? Why should we talk about this particular topic? Because I know in investment you want to talk about value for money. So let's talk about the value. What's the value of us positioning ourselves or discussing this particular topic? The game has changed. So it's time to think global. It's time for us to think, to keep pushing ourselves because the game, and the game hasn't necessarily changed per se. For me, I think what's even more pertinent to say is that the game is always changing. Hello? Hello? Because we keep talking about, making, positioning yourselves in the market, whether to pull out, whether to get in or get out, isn't it? So you keep analyzing how the markets are behaving to either move in or move out. True or false? True or false? True. True. So for you, how about you? Are you always doing that in your life, in your career? Do you think the market, the world, as the world changes, you also need to change the way you're changing the market in and out? To hold on, to pull out? Don't you think it's a metaphor in life and career? Hello? Hello? Are we together? Yes. The same, it's the metaphor in the markets, is the same metaphor in your brand. Because you are also a market. You are a product. You are a product. You are a brand. Okay? So that's part of branding. So when we talk, so you're not just mwemaze, but you're friendly, you're supportive, and at the end of the day, that's what defines you. That's positioning. That your industry is one of the most volatile, that is fact. Cryptocurrencies are gaining ground. I know that even at the Institute, you talk about, the CFA Institute talks a lot about cryptocurrencies. And here's a question for us. How many of us would consider ourselves experts in cryptocurrencies? Like you feel you have a solid ground in cryptocurrency? Yeah, so for me, that's my concern. I was sharing with Julia that, as we are communicating to the team, we also need to remind ourselves that positioning is not just about maximizing what's today, but positioning yourself for the future markets. We know that cryptocurrencies, it is here, and it will keep taking root. Yes or yes?
Yes.
So,
maybe.
Yeah, maybe. So, because, whether it is happening. It is not about maybe. The fact that you can purchase stuff using Bitcoin online now, it's not a maybe, it is here. The percentage keeps increasing. Hello? Hello? Therefore, if we talk about positioning, it is also about positioning yourself for the future opportunities. How many of us have solid grounding in blockchain technology? Blockchain technology. Is blockchain technology here?
Yes.
Is it here?
Yes.
Is it affecting your industry? Hello? We are saying not yet? Some of us are saying not yet. It is already. I'm not an expert in your industry, but I know blockchain technology is affecting everything now. It's penetrating, it's coming. It's coming and coming in fast, whether we want it or not. So how are we positioning ourselves for that? I was telling Andrew that because part of what he does is IT, his background is software engineering, and I was telling him, hey, you'd better learn how to do programming around block technology, whatever that is. So digital technology, that is clear. Artificial intelligence versus human intelligence for investment. So what we need to be asking ourselves, how is artificial intelligence affecting how we work? Because a good number of decisions you're making today, artificial intelligence is penetrating and making some of those decisions. True or false? So then how are we positioning ourselves in that realm? Or how are we also utilizing? I was chatting with one of you, and one of your challenges is, you're too busy. There is so much to deal with. So how can we also leverage technology to make our decision making easier, such that we can also have a life? If you look around this room, when you go in other sectors, you find at your age, you know, with the kind of income you earn, you usually find that people, you know, a good percentage of people are overweight and all that. But here, there is no one. So how do we make sure that we utilize technology to make our work a little easier and to save time such that my friend here can even have more time to have fun? Regional trends, Brexit. How is Brexit affecting investments? Are we able to advise our clients in that arena? BRIC economies. The BRIC economies are improving. Talking about BRIC economies, I was sharing with Julia yesterday that one of the international banks, I'm sure we all know what BRIC is, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So one of the international banks, a good portion of their work, they shipped it to India. Because apparently, in India, they are excellent when it comes to numbers and, you know, figures and all that kind of stuff. So for you, it's not just competing around the region, you're competing with Indians. Globally. You're competing global, at a global, because the work that you do can be done online by some fellow out there. But those are the dynamics we are dealing with. The ESC trade rallies in that you can communicate and do business anywhere. BPO across borders, that's related to what I was talking about. Now, if things are changing, then it's not possible for you to stay unchanged. If you stay unchanged, when I was in high school, there was a guy called Sanyo. He said, you either change or change or change you, and he was threatening a headmaster. Now, it sounded like a threat then, it sounded new then, but in real life, that's how things work. You either change or change changes you. So if you're not on your feet, on your toes, to keep repositioning yourself. So for me to come here and I find that we don't have at least one person paying a lot of attention on cryptocurrencies, for me that is worrying. It is worrying, I really mean that. Because we know that some kid is going to pop up from somewhere and is an expert at this and you become irrelevant. Someone is before your client and says, you know what, I've been tracking this thing for the last 5 years, this is how much money I'm making for my client, and you know the return on investment is 55% per year, and the typical equities is about 23%, and you know, you better get in this, and you'll be thinking, but how come my CFA has not seen this? Do you see such a conversation happening? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yeah, so for me, part of my job, you see, as motivational speakers, part of our job is to comfort the afflicted and to afflict the comfortable. So part of my job is to afflict you, is to disturb you. If I can disturb you and you start thinking differently, then I would have done my job. That you must position yourself for success, therefore. That when you stop trying to change others and work on changing yourself, your world changes for the better. So, it is very easy to keep pointing fingers, wanting the management to change, management to focus on your way of thinking, but the most difficult job is to change yourself. Someone is saying people power, Saka, don't take me there. And then the other one is media. I consciously looked for opportunities to appear in the media. And by me, how many of you have seen my articles or seen me by articles in papers? Okay, good. How many of you have seen me on TV by any chance? Okay, good. Now, in terms of positioning, do you think it helps that before you appear before someone's face, they have seen you somewhere else? Is that helpful? Okay, let me ask you another question. How many of us write in the papers? Okay, 1, 2, okay, 3. Good. Let's give them a hand, those who are writing in the papers. But, and I'll ask you another quick question. I will link that question a little later, just tell you the value of writing. So that's my story. When we talk about positioning, I like the Business Dictionary's definition. So it aims, when we talk about positioning, we are really talking about how do you make yourself distinct in the mind of a customer, in the mind of the market? How are you standing out wherever you are. Because I saw CFA, I didn't know that you are this few in terms in the market. Pardon me, it's by design. It's an exclusive club. By design, I like that. Okay, so, but even amongst the 15 in Uganda, for example, the ones who are, or in East Africa, for example, in East Africa, Susan, we are how many? 100 and what? 186. So, talk to your neighbor. What makes you different from the 186? Share with your neighbor. What makes you different from the 186? Share with your immediate neighbor. In the 186, what makes you different? Some of you are just laughing at me. No, on a serious note, share with your neighbor. What makes you different from the 186?